My wife cheated with her boss, then tricked me into signing over our $500, $0 house during a supposed business deal. Now she's claiming the money and property are hers, and I just found out she's been secretly laundering thousands through our joint account for years. I never thought I'd be the guy sitting here, writing about how my wife, Lisa, turned out to be a cheating, manipulative mess. Honestly, I thought we had a good thing going, 2 kids, a nice house, decent jobs. We weren't perfect, but I trusted her. That trust was the foundation of everything. But then out of nowhere, everything started to crumble. It all unfolded so fast, and looking back, I see the signs now, small things that I ignored or brushed off. The late nights, the sudden secrecy with her phone, her avoiding questions about where she was or who she was with. I figured maybe she was just stressed or busy, or maybe I was overthinking it. But deep down, I felt something was off. It all hit the fan one evening when I came home unexpectedly early from work. I usually don't do that, but I had a gut feeling that I couldn't shake. I wanted to surprise her, see her face when I walked through the door. Instead, I found her in our bedroom, lips pressed against her boss, James. Yeah, James. The guy who runs that startup she's been working for. They weren't just talking, they were doing more than talking. I saw her hand on his thigh, her eyes closed, and I swear I could hear her whispering something that sounded like, "I can't wait to see you tonight." That moment froze me. My stomach dropped and everything else just faded into the background. I stood there stunned, feeling like I'd been punched in the gut. My mind raced. How long had this been going on? Did she really think she could keep it hidden? The betrayal cut so deep I couldn't breathe. I watched for a few seconds longer, trying to process what I was seeing. Then she saw me. Her eyes widened like she'd been caught in a crime, which in my eyes she had. She quickly pulled away from James, fumbling for her clothes, trying to act like nothing was wrong. But I saw her face, her guilty, bitchy smirk, like she thought she was too clever for me. That's when I knew everything was over. I confronted her right there in the middle of our bedroom. She started with her usual lies: "It's nothing, just work stress," or "You're overreacting," or "James is just a friend." Yeah, right. She looked me in the eyes and told me she loved me, that it was just a mistake, that it was a one-time thing. But I wasn't stupid. I knew better. I could see the way she lied, the way her voice cracked when she tried to deny it. I felt a mix of rage, heartbreak, and disbelief. How had I missed all the signs? How could she do this to me, to us? And then it got worse. Because in that moment, I started digging. I started looking through her phone, her emails, bank statements. I found receipts from hotels she booked with James, messages that proved they'd been sneaking around for months. But the biggest shock came when I discovered she'd been laundering money through our joint account. Thousands of dollars every month siphoned off into some offshore account she never told me about. I couldn't believe it. She lied about everything, about her affair, about her money, about her loyalty. It was like I was living in some twisted nightmare. That's when I realized she wasn't just cheating on me emotionally or physically. She was also stealing from us financially. The house we bought together, the savings we built up, she was draining it. I felt so betrayed, so humiliated. I thought I knew her, but I was blind. I'd been blind to her lies, her manipulations, her greed. I knew I had to do something, but I had no idea what. I was furious, devastated, and feeling more alone than I ever had before. I didn't sleep that night, just replaying everything I'd uncovered, wondering how I'd been so stupid, how I'd let her get away with this for so long. That's where I am now, standing at the edge of a disaster I didn't see coming, trying to figure out what the hell I do next. After that night, everything changed. I couldn't look at Lisa the same way. The woman I used to trust with my life was now a stranger, a liar, a thief. I spent the next few days in a fog, swirling between anger and disbelief. I kept going over everything I found, trying to piece it together. How long had she been sneaking around? How much money had she stolen? How many lies had I believed? It was like my whole world had been turned upside down. I started to dig even deeper, going through bank statements, her emails, her phone. I wanted to know everything. The money laundering thing was a huge shock. I never imagined my wife, the woman I loved, could be involved in something so shady. I found out she'd been funneling thousands into some offshore account for years. I also discovered that she'd been convincing me to sign over the house during some business deal she had with James. She played me like a fool, convincing me it was a good investment, that it would help our family. I remember her telling me, "Trust me, this is going to make us even better off in the long run." Yeah, right. Now I see she was just lining her pockets while I was busy being naive. The day I uncovered all this, I felt like I'd been punched again, only this time it was worse. I realized I'd signed over the house, our house, during what she called a business transaction. She made it sound legit, convincing me that it was a smart move. I was so desperate to believe her to keep the peace that I signed the papers. And now she's telling me that the house and the money are hers, that I have no claim to it. I couldn't believe I'd been so stupid. She lied about everything, and I was left with nothing but a pile of broken trust and a sinking feeling that I'd been played for a fool. The emotional toll has been brutal. I felt rage, then sadness, then a kind of numbness. I kept asking myself how I could have missed the signs, how I could have been so blind. I was furious at her, but I was also devastated. I loved her once. I thought we'd build a life together, and now I see she was only in it for herself. The betrayal cut so deep that I couldn't even look at her without feeling sick. Every time she tried to justify herself, to spin some story about how she deserves the money or how I'm just jealous, I felt my blood boil. She's the type that lies without blinking, and her bitchy attitude only made it worse. She's always been good at twisting words, making herself look innocent while she's out there screwing someone else. I remember the moment I finally confronted her again after digging everything up. I told her I knew about the affair, the money laundering, the house signing, everything. Her reaction: she just smirked and told me I was overreacting, that I was paranoid, that I was ruining everything because I couldn't handle her success. She claimed she was doing it all for us, to make sure our future was secure. Yeah, right. That's the kind of lie she's been feeding herself. She's always been good at lying, at making herself look like the victim, but I saw through her. I told her she was a selfish bitch, that I was done playing her game, and that I was going to take legal action. The shock of all this has left me feeling lost. I don't even know who she is anymore. I keep questioning everything: our marriage, our life, the money we worked so hard for. I can't believe I was so blind to her manipulations. It feels like I've been living with a con artist all along. I've been trying to figure out what to do next, whether to fight for the house, try to get some of the money back, or just walk away and start over. The thing is, I can't trust her anymore. Every word she says feels like a lie. Every smile, every excuse is just her trying to spin her web around me. Right now, I'm just trying to hold it together. I've hired a lawyer, and I'm gathering evidence to fight for what's mine. I know she's planning to claim everything as hers, but I refuse to let her get away with it. The betrayal has left scars, deep and raw. I feel so humiliated that I didn't see it coming, so stupid for trusting her. But I also know I can't keep living in this nightmare. I've got to find a way to get past this, to rebuild, or at least to reclaim what's mine. The most frustrating part: knowing that I'll probably never fully trust her again, that she's turned out to be someone I didn't even recognize. That's where I am now, trying to figure out how to pick up the pieces, knowing that my life has been forever changed by her lies and betrayal. The worst part: I still love her, or at least I did. But love doesn't mean much when the person you trusted most turns out to be your biggest enemy. I'm angry, hurt, and sick of feeling like I've been played. I just want to get out of this mess with some shred of dignity left. The more I dug into her financials, the more I realized how deep her deception went. It wasn't just a one-time affair or a few stolen dollars. It was years of lies, manipulation, and outright theft. I found bank transfers, shell companies, fake invoices, things I didn't even understand at first, but I knew enough to see she had been laundering money through our joint account for a long time. Thousands of dollars every month disappearing into accounts I'd never heard of. I felt sick every time I looked at the statements. How could she have done this to me, to us? After everything we built together, she was just stealing it away, piece by piece. And then there was the house. I still can't get over that one. She convinced me to sign it over during some business deal she was working on with James. She insisted it was a good investment, that it would help us grow our wealth. I remember her smooth talking, telling me how this was the smart move, how I should trust her. I was so eager to believe her, so eager to keep the peace. I signed the papers, signed away our biggest asset. Now she's claiming that the house is hers, her reward for all her hard work. She's told me I have no claim, that I was just a pawn in her game. That realization hit me like a punch in the gut. I was so naive. How could I have let her manipulate me into giving her everything? The betrayal cut even deeper when I found out about her affair with James. I'd suspected something, but I never imagined it was this bad. Seeing her in bed with him was one thing, but discovering she'd been lying to my face for months, sneaking around behind my back, was another. She always told me she was too busy, that her work was stressful. But behind my back she was screwing her boss, probably thinking she was untouchable. She told me she loved me, that it was just a mistake, that she'd end it, but I knew better. I saw the messages, the hotel receipts, the secret meetings. She thought she was clever, that she could have her cake and eat it too, but I wasn't stupid. I saw through her lies. The worst part, the emotional, one minute I was furious, ready to tear her apart for everything she'd done. The next, I felt crushed, like I'd lost the woman I loved. I kept asking myself how I'd missed all the signs, how I hadn't seen her sneaking out late, her secret phone calls, her changing behavior. I was blind, and I hated myself for it. I felt so stupid for trusting her, for believing her when she said she loved me. Now I realized she was just playing me, using me for her own gain. That realization made me feel small, used, and completely betrayed. I confronted her again, and her reaction was infuriating. She acted all innocent, like I was the one overreacting. She said I was jealous, insecure, that I was just imagining things. She told me she loved me, but her actions told a different story. She's always been good at lying, twisting words, making herself look like the victim. She's the type who can cry on command, who can spin a story so convincing you start doubting your own eyes. But I wasn't buying it anymore. I told her I knew everything about her affair, her money laundering, her scheme to take the house. Her response: she just shrugged and said, "If you really knew everything, you'd see I'm doing this all for us." Yeah, right, doing it for us, while she was screwing her boss and stealing from our joint account. I've never felt so angry and helpless at the same time. I started to realize how much I'd been played. She's always been manipulative, bitchy when she doesn't get her way, and now I see she's a liar and a thief. The emotional toll was crushing. I couldn't sleep, couldn't eat, couldn't focus. All I could do was replay everything in my head, her sneaking around, her lies, her betrayal. I felt so humiliated, like I was a complete idiot for not seeing it sooner. How did I miss all the signs? How did I let her get away with this? Now I'm trying to figure out what I should do next. I've contacted a lawyer, someone who specializes in divorce and asset recovery. I want to fight for what's mine, for the house, the savings, everything she's stolen. I know she's planning to claim everything as hers, that she's trying to spin this into some victory for herself. But I refuse to let her win. I want justice. I want my life back. I want to prove she's a liar and a thief. But at the same time, part of me just wants to walk away, forget everything, and start over. The hardest part, I still love her, or at least I did. I keep telling myself I should hate her, that I should be done with her forever. But deep down, I know that's not so easy. Trust is broken, and I don't think I'll ever fully trust her again. The betrayal runs too deep. I feel like I've lost not just my wife, but also the person I thought I knew. The woman I loved has turned into someone I barely recognize, greedy, manipulative, and completely unfaithful. So here I am, trying to hold it together, trying to figure out how to move forward. I don't know if I'll ever fully heal from this, but I do know I won't let her get away with it. I've got to be strong for myself and my kids. But honestly, I don't know how I'm going to sleep at night knowing she's out there, lying and stealing and pretending everything's fine. It's a nightmare I can't wake up from. Since I started legal proceedings, everything has gotten even messier. My lawyer told me that Lisa's already trying to claim that the house and all those stolen funds are joint assets she's entitled to. That's her main argument now, that I was just an innocent participant, that she's the real victim here. She's spinning stories about how she was trying to secure our future, how I should be grateful for her hard work and vision. Honestly, I want to laugh because it's so damn transparent. She's been lying her ass off from the start and now she's trying to play the victim. It's laughable if it weren't so infuriating. I've been collecting everything: bank statements, texts, emails, even the fake invoices she used to justify those offshore transfers. I've got enough to sink her if it comes to that. But it's not just about the money anymore. It's about exposing her, making sure everyone knows the truth. I want everyone to see her for what she really is: a liar, a cheat, a manipulative bitch who used me and our family for her own gain. That's what fuels me now. I want her to lose everything she's stolen, not just the house, but her reputation too. Meanwhile, she's still trying to gaslight me. She calls me paranoid, insecure, jealous. She's insisting that I'm just overreacting, that I'm making a mountain out of a molehill, but I've seen the evidence. I know what she's done. Every time she opens her mouth, I get angrier. I can't believe I was so blind, believing her when she said she loved me, trusting her with everything. I was the fool, the sucker. And now I'm left holding the bag, trying to piece together a life that she's been secretly dismantling for years. The emotional toll is intense. I feel like I'm walking around with a storm inside me: rage, sadness, betrayal, and a gnawing sense that I'll never fully trust anyone again. I keep replaying the moments I let her get away with little things: her secret texts, her late nights, her dismissive attitude when I asked about her work. All those signs were there, but I ignored them because I wanted to believe she was everything I thought she was. Now, I see she was just a master manipulator, hiding her true self behind a mask of perfection. One thing I've realized is that her bitchy attitude only makes her lies easier to swallow. She's always been good at putting on a front, acting innocent, pretending to be the victim, spinning stories that make me doubt myself. It's like she's been playing a game all along and I was just too stupid to see the rules. I've caught her in so many lies now that I don't even bother confronting her anymore. I just gather evidence and prepare to fight. I want her to pay for what she's done, not just financially, but in every way possible. I've all started to think about what this means for my future. Honestly, I don't see myself staying in this house. It's tainted now. Every corner reminds me of her lies. I've been looking into a new place, something small just for me and the kids, away from her toxicity. I want to start over, rebuild my life from scratch if I have to. The trust is gone, and I know I'll never be able to trust her again. Not after all this. The betrayal has left wounds that won't heal overnight. But here's the thing: I'm also angry at myself. I keep wondering how I let it get this far. Why didn't I see the signs? Why didn't I push harder to find out the truth sooner? I was so eager to keep the peace, to be the good guy, that I ignored all the red flags. Now I realize that being nice and trusting isn't always a virtue. Sometimes it's a mistake. Sometimes you have to be tough, skeptical, and willing to face uncomfortable truths. The thing that stings the most is knowing she's trying to spin this whole mess to her advantage. She's telling friends and family that I'm the one who's crazy, that I'm insecure and jealous. She's painting herself as the victim again. It's classic her: twist the truth, blame others, and pretend everything's fine. But I know better. I see through her now, and I won't let her get away with it. I want her to face the consequences of her actions, to be exposed for what she really is. Honestly, I don't know how much longer I can keep this up. The stress is overwhelming, and some days I just want to walk away, forget it all. But part of me knows I have to fight for my rights, for my dignity, for the truth. I want her to realize that her lies and manipulations won't get her anywhere, that she can't keep hiding behind her bitchy attitude forever. That someday the truth will come out and she'll have to answer for everything she's done. I'm trying to stay strong, but every day is a battle. I keep telling myself that I deserve better than this, better than a wife who cheats, steals, and lies. I want to rebuild my life, even if it means starting from scratch. I don't want to be a victim forever. I want justice and I want to move on. But right now, all I feel is the weight of everything she's taken from me: my trust, my house, my peace of mind. And I'm not sure how to carry that weight much longer. The legal process has been every day brings new surprises, new hurdles. Lisa's already trying to spin the narrative, claiming she's the victim here, that I'm just bitter, that I'm overreacting to her hard work and success. She's calling the house a gift she gave me, conveniently forgetting that I signed papers trusting her, thinking it was a legitimate deal. Now she's telling everyone that I'm just jealous because she's more accomplished than I am. It's infuriating. She's good at twisting words, turning her lies into some kind of victimhood. But I know the truth. I have the evidence, screenshots, bank statements, her own words, and I plan to use every bit of it. I've hired a lawyer who specializes in asset recovery and divorce cases. We're preparing to fight for the house, the money she's stolen, and even for some kind of accountability. I want her to pay for her betrayal, not just financially but also morally. I want her to realize that her lies have consequences, that she can't keep living this way, stealing from her own family and lying through her teeth. I've told her lawyer to be ready for a tough fight because I won't back down. I've got enough evidence to make her regret ever crossing me. On a personal level, I've been trying to stay strong, but it's hard. Every day feels like a new punch to the stomach. I wake up with this heavy weight pressing down on me, knowing that my wife, my partner, has been lying to my face for years. I keep asking myself how I missed all the signs. Was I just blind? Did I want to believe everything was perfect so badly that I ignored the red flags? I think so. That's the worst part. I was so eager to keep our life together, so desperate to hold on to what we had that I ignored all the warning signs. The late nights, the secret phone calls, the way she'd be defensive when I asked about her work. Now I see it all clearly. She was hiding a whole secret life. The emotional toll is overwhelming. I feel betrayed, humiliated, and angry all at once. Sometimes I find myself staring at the house, thinking about all the memories, our wedding, the kids' birthdays, quiet evenings. Now it's all tainted. I can't step inside without feeling the sting of her lies. The house is a symbol of what we lost, what she stole from me. I started looking into new places, small apartments where I can start fresh. I don't want her to have that house anymore, not after what she did. I want to rebuild my life, but I know it's going to take time. It's hard to imagine trusting anyone again after this. And then there's the money. God, the money. I found out she'd been secretly laundering thousands through our joint account for years. I knew she was shady, but I didn't realize how deep it went. She'd set up fake companies, fake invoices, all to funnel money into offshore accounts. She convinced me to sign over the house during some business deal that was just a cover for her theft. She told me she was doing it for us, for our future. Now I see she was just lining her pockets. I feel so betrayed, like I've been played for a fool. I can't believe I was so naive, so trusting. What makes it worse is her attitude. She's bitchy, dismissive, like she thinks she's untouchable. Every time I bring up her lies, she brushes it off, acting like I'm the one causing trouble. She's always been good at twisting things to her advantage. That's her biggest weapon. You can't trust her words, only her actions. And her actions have been lies, theft, and betrayal. I've learned the hard way that no matter how much you love someone, if they're willing to lie and cheat, they're not worth holding on to. Right now, I'm in a state of limbo. I want to fight, but I also want to walk away and forget everything. Part of me wishes I could just disappear from all this chaos. But I know I can't. I have to see this through for me and my kids. They deserve stability and honesty, not a mother who's been lying and stealing behind our backs. I want to protect them from her chaos, from her manipulations. That's what keeps me going, thinking about their future, about giving them a better life than this mess. In the end, I've learned some harsh lessons. Trust is fragile, and sometimes people will take everything you have if you let them. I've learned that betrayal can come from the person you love most, and it hits harder than any outside enemy. I've also learned that fighting back, gathering evidence, and standing up for myself is the only way to reclaim some dignity. Lisa may think she's won, but I won't let her walk away with everything. I'll fight for what's rightfully mine, my house, my money, my reputation. And I hope someday I'll find peace again. Because right now I feel like I'm just surviving, waiting for the storm to pass. The court date is set, and I've never felt more exhausted in my life. Every document, every piece of evidence I've gathered feels like a weight on my shoulders. Lisa's attorney is trying to spin her story, claiming she's the victim, that I was controlling and unreasonable. She's even tried to claim that I was complicit in her money laundering, which is outright false. But I have proof, screenshots, bank statements, her own words, and I'm ready to fight. The hardest part is knowing she's still trying to manipulate everyone around her, spinning her web of lies while I sit here, trying to keep my head above water. I've come to realize that the biggest victory isn't necessarily winning the case. It's reclaiming my dignity, my sense of justice. I won't let her steal what's mine, not just the house and the money, but also my self-respect. Every day, I remind myself of the truth. She betrayed me, lied to my face, and tried to destroy everything we built. I refuse to be the victim of her schemes anymore. I've learned that sometimes you have to fight dirty just to get your life back. The aftermath of all this has been a mix of relief and pain. I finally filed for divorce, and it feels like a huge weight has lifted, even as I mourn what we lost. I've moved out of the house into a small apartment, and I've started rebuilding, slowly, step by step. My kids are adjusting, and I'm trying to be the best father I can be, despite everything. I want them to see that even in the worst circumstances, you can pick yourself up and move forward. They don't deserve to carry the burden of her lies. Looking back, I see how much I underestimated her. She's always been good at hiding her true self behind a bitchy attitude and convincing stories. I realize now that trust is something you earn, not just give away because you want to believe in someone. I was naive and it cost me everything, but I also learned that I'm stronger than I thought. I can stand up, fight back, and rebuild even after betrayal of this magnitude. My advice to anyone who might be going through something similar: trust your gut. Don't ignore the red flags no matter how much you want things to be perfect. Keep records, gather evidence, fight for what's yours. And most importantly, don't let anyone, no matter how charming or convincing, take away your dignity. The pain may never fully go away, but you can choose to rise above it. You can rebuild your life piece by piece and learn to trust again, even if it's hard. In the end, I've come to accept that some betrayals run so deep that they change you forever, but they also teach you who you really are. I've learned to stand up for myself, to value honesty and integrity, and to never let anyone manipulate me again. Lisa may have stolen my house, my money, and my trust, but she can't steal my strength. Not anymore. I'm done being the victim. I'm done with the lies. And I'm finally ready to move on, stronger, wiser, and more cautious than ever before.